Oh, I need a little slow, a little motto to say sorry. Sorry but welcome. There you go. A little reminder: you're in my house right now. If I'm wasting your time, then go. So sorry, but you're welcome. That's good because you're welcome here, and also honestly, maybe it's taken me a long time to say things, but there are benefit things you could benefit from. So sorry, but you're welcome. Oh, so then SBYW, Sabu. So Bu, Sobu, Sobu, Sobu. Hey, Sobu, Sabu, Sabu, Sobu. All right, you guys excited? I think I'm a little nervous. Last night I visualized doing this. Visualized pulling out my notebook, starting on it. They're doing great because visualizing is really good. Run the protocols, grease those wheels the night before, pre-liver them. I think I might be doing important things. My dad thinks, he said, hey, what if, you and your girl, what if you guys, end up getting together, being together? And then she could open up her own practice. And if you train to be a PA, you could be her PA. Okay, Sobu. All right. All right, this is very exciting. I am very excited. Let's do it. Okay. So the Kess Pierce. All right, we're not going to get caught up on formatting right now, are we? Drop this for now. Okay, Kesset Pierce and Kesset Falls. Okay, so that's what we've done so far, right? Let's throw in a quick check. All right, let's list the sex now. Okay, here's a quack. It's a person quack. Anybody here crazy, stupid, or lazy? Maybe, but nothing flagrant. So
a ridiculous story, and it's a gotcha question, because the reality is, for the past God knows how many centuries, we've defined a woman based on since Adam and Eve, actually. So yeah, since Adam and Eve, thousands of years. Yeah, and that's
all right. Sorry, I wasn't.
based on self-identity.
All right, hold on. Oh, we're doing Pierce first, because that's gonna be easier. So, so we'll call. So S1, let's say. S1 is I guess we need like exactly what he said and then how we're gonna formulate it. Now, because they weren't on the same page here, right? Because he was about to say, that we determine according to presentation, whereas in Pierce's mind, this whole gender dysphoria or whatever is new to Pierce's mind, right? So he was primed when he heard that this guy was about to say something about history, since blah blah blah. He was going, oh, well, since most of the time it's been parts that determine. And I suppose that my friend Foles here is going to justify why that should change. But in fact, Foles was saying that nothing's changing actually. Or if anything, it's what the recent thing is this obsession with the parts. All right, so since Adam and Eve, gender has been determined way X. 2. See, now what do we do with... And then you got to evaluate your own evaluation of the argument. Oh my gosh. Because I don't know whether this is fair. We need a word for fair. Or if we can make fair into an acronym. Like appropriate, relevant, impartial, fruitful. How's that for an acronym for fair? Instead of appropriate, acceptable. All right. So I don't know whether this is fair, but I am inclined to say that S1A is man started with Adam and Eve.
God knows how many centuries we've defined a woman based on since Adam and Eve, actually. So yeah, since Adam and Eve, thousands of years. Yeah, and that's always been based on self-identification or perception. So does
and our perception of the presentation. Yeah, but that's all, of course, a given. Whatever it is, you have to perceive it. Okay.
Someone present as a woman? Does someone present as a man? You guys all assume that I'm a man. But That's based on how I'm presenting to you. You haven't asked to, drop my trousers and prove it. You haven't asked me to provide you any papers. Not likely to. Well, good, thank you.
What a useless sack of old shit. I don't know how complete our...
I appreciate that. And I think it's just there's this ridiculous sort of gotcha question of define what a woman is. Basic question for the Equalities Minister. What is equality? The question is there's this ridiculous sort of gotcha question of define what a woman is. Basic question for the Equalities Minister. What's a woman?
Oh shit. Ah, fuck! Fucking hell. I'm telling you, I had half a can of the 0% beer. I'm drunk right now.
Ooh, a woman is. That doesn't seem to say it depends on the context. The question of define what a woman is. Basic question for the question is what a woman is. Basic question for the Equalities Minister. What's a woman? Ooh, a woman is. That doesn't seem to say it depends on the context. It is. That doesn't seem to say it depends on the context. Equalities Minister. What's a woman? Ooh, a woman is. That doesn't seem to say it depends on the context. Ooh, but it does depend on the context, doesn't it?
But you are born male.
I am, surprisingly, I'm saying.
So even if you...
Now, if we were really being fair, we would not consider those two people as representing the same thing. In fact, we're gonna see a contradiction in at the end of the video. Oh, you already saw the end of the video, right? Did you notice a major contradiction at the beginning? Team Pierce was all about Adam and Eve. At the end, they were like, truth matters. Which seems like, I mean, not by itself isn't definitely a contradiction, but it seems like one likely story of how those statements could both be made by those two people sitting together is that there is a contradiction there. I think maybe she was okay with his Adam and Eve, and also if you discuss Adam and Eve with them, I don't think they'd present fossil evidence. They would say it's a choice. And if it's a choice, then truth doesn't matter. Right? If you're able to choose truth, then truth as an objective thing doesn't matter. Or I mean, because he could say, yeah, truth matters, and I decide that it's true, I'm a she. You decide that Adam and Eve existed, and I'm going to respect that, and you respect this, right? I didn't correct him when he said that. I allowed that reality to exist in the conversation. I even said, yeah. I even validated that choice of y'all's. And I think y'all's choice, by the way, is much more dangerous than mine. It's much more consequential. I'm just choosing my personal gender reality and ask you to just validate that. I threw you a yeah when you were asking me to validate that I reject all of science in the last 400 years. All I'm doing is asking you to validate, like, a pronoun. You know what I mean, bro? There's got to be some way to keep track of, because to evaluate the charitability, some way to keep track of. There's got to be some way to keep track of charitability. For instance, that to me is evidence of that we've got one party that's much more charitable than the other, which gives him major points, because we can't really know truth, so we have to use these little shortcuts to figure out who to listen to, and we already do that, right? Tone of voice, age, how they're dressed, and so on. We just without Aleris is about trying to use better shortcuts than we currently use. And who's more charitable? I think that's a better shortcut than, for instance, who's better dressed. And because who's more charitable it's kind of going to factor in automatically, sort of. Like we'll be like, if you see someone just yelling, talking over someone, and someone else, I hear you, blah, blah, that little demonstration there will be like, oh, this person's more level-headed, more charitable, something, you know. But also we'll be thinking they're more mature. Anyway, but it's good to write it in front of you. Oh yeah, this guy wins on charitability significantly. Like this guy, I think is. Well, I don't know his whatever, thousands of years, whatever. Yeah. He didn't. Well, he wasn't too dismissive about it. That was charitable. So let's go back to our so crazy. So let's do another quack. Quack. Charitability, comparison, and then what else could we do at this moment? We could do an ethos comparison now that we've gotten a chance to go through their kesses, their sex, charitability comparison, ethos comparison, and pathos comparison. Like, is anyone just fucking yelling using just really, blah, blah? Logos comparison is not easy, right? That's what this whole technique is about. How are we gonna? We'll get to that. We haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so let's make progress. All right. So you were born a man.
You are born male.
I am, so far as I'm saying.
That's funny. You are born male. That's funny. That's so funny. And that's so funny because that's really, really funny. Now, unless your first language is not French. In French, that would work grammatically. That does work. You don't say you were born. I mean, you could, I guess, but you say I am born. I am born 1991, Albert, 29, Brody. And that PS8 is an interesting sec, especially because and this sec would undermine any argument she wants to make about the importance of grammar. Well, not really. I mean, you could just say it's a slip, but is it a slip? Because I think PS8 is all about presuming that what we were born as is what we are. And that's look at that. It's not like she planned that or anything. She was just trying to say you are male, and for her, he is male because he was born male. And so those things just got combined. You are born male. Right? That's an interesting one.
So even
and him being charitable, repeated the same verb, the same tense that she used. Not because he was like, I got to be charitable. It happened like this. He's got no memory of it. He had no real experience of it. Or he's got no memory of experiencing this process anyway.
Male.
I am, so far as I'm saying.
So even if you presented to me as more feminine, if you had a dress on this morning, you've been sat in makeup, you would still be a man.
But you wouldn't know. What I'm saying, I could be a woman right now. I could have women's parts. I could just be wearing a chest binder.
I want to live in a.
I could be a woman right now. I could have women's parts and I could just be wearing a chest binder.
I want to live.
Right now, I could have women's parts and I could just be wearing a chest binder.
I want to live in a world that believes in truth. That there's the most important issue that underpins everything.
You guys all assume.
This most important issue, I had missed that. I don't know how I missed that. That's hilarious. This most important issue that I don't think she meant undermines. Oh yeah, maybe she meant undermines. I thought she meant like underpins. But yeah, maybe she meant undermines everything. Wow. And Buddy next to you saw about Adam and Eve and that didn't bother you? Whoa, that's wild, bro.
Right now, I could have women's parts and I could just be wearing a chest binder.
I want to live in a world that believes in truth. That there's the most important issue that underpins everything.
Wearing a chest binder.
I want to live in a world that believes in truth. That there's the most important issue that underpins everything.
Oh, she did say underpins. Okay. What? I believe in the truth.
Live in a world that believes in truth. That there's the most important issue that underpins everything.
In truth about, maybe she said. No, this can't be what she said.
You guys, you wouldn't know, is what I'm saying. I could be a woman right now. I could have women's parts and I could just be wearing a chest binder.
I want to live in a world that believes in truth. That there's the most important issue that underpins everything.
You guys all
We'll separate them. It's not nothing. We've done the sex now. Now, whenever we do a quack, and by the way, so now we would also do a quack for mallets. But no, mallets need if-then formulation to see them. So may as well wait until... All right, so we've got the kesses. We've got the sex. Next step. And then by the way, he wins on pathos and charitability, have no real way of evaluating ethos. And then what you would do is you would write like, oh, this is so annoying, bro. All right, here we go. So I don't understand why I just want to view a fucking fit, bro. I don't understand why I need all that other. Yeah, but see, that doesn't fit. You haven't really fit it, but fine. All right, so now that we've done the sex, let's do a quick quack. Let's do a quack. Let's do the charitability quack. I don't know how to do this. Charitability low, ethos low, pathos. Oh, but it should be fuck. It should be the same direction, right? We want charitability, we want ethos, but we don't want a whole lot of pathos. Let's go apathos. Let's just go low, charitability, med, and then we cite FS01. Ethos unknown, and apathos. I'm gonna go high on this one because I don't know. And that may be all right. Let's go just medium. Let's say medium can mean better than low, but it can also mean that we don't have information to say it's low. We don't have information to say it's high. Is that okay? Can I do that? Is that fair? We don't have, and of course, the evaluation of an argument can always itself be evaluated. So if you disagree with what I've put here of FS14, then what you would say is, you would say EFS14 false. Because you're not saying FS14, no, sorry, that's not a good example. Because you're talking about my labeling of it. I don't know. And E for Aleris, I don't know. Or maybe evaluation, I don't know. Okay. Oh gosh, what time is it? It's gonna start getting hot. Okay. Alright, now we get to, alright, so now we've done that quick. So let's now do assemble sex into bitabs. Okie dokie. So we don't need this anymore. No, it would be good to consult that. Let's go. Let me pee real quick. You know what another quick would be? How cup and lip they are. You can always do a cup lip quack. I'm gonna go la lip bro and la cup bro. La lip, that's like in general they don't seem to be responsive, but la cup, I'm gonna cite PSO1 bro. They just don't seem to even care about evidence. But la lip, they're just not responding. This PS09 is definitely pill, bro. Let's go PS12, which was a big, big whole thing. That's what the caption says. Sam Foles has his head in his hands. So that's going to be PS12. That's our justification for low charitability. And PS12 also for low apathos. I mean, the very fact that this guy's a guest here to, I'm guessing, talk about this issue, and they're the hosts. This is an assumption. You can raise my PS00, say, whoa, he's actually their weather guy, and he just sat down and started having this argument with them. You know, it's like, oh, okay, my bad. I don't know how to. I wouldn't say he's puck or pill, but can I justify saying that he's cup or lip? In general, he is lip. He is like actually responding to what they're saying. He'll say, yeah, but no, exactly this, but no, right, but so he is very lip. And you know what? Evidence that he's lip is how, look at all these responses. Okay, so lip, yeah, we'll say that he's lip. We'll say that he's lip because of FS01, FS08, where he just kind of was responding. FS04, FS03. I think those are some good lip examples. Have we done a good job of looking at since Adam and Eve? I mean, this I guess could be lip. He was like responding to it, but get out of here. So I guess you should be, I guess by each sec you could be putting whether it's lip and whether it's cup. So you could be like, well, this one's like PL. This is puck, but it's lip. It's at least like relevant or like acknowledging, but it's not cup. We can get this a PL. What's something that's a PP? I don't know. This was more of a question, but kind of a rhetorical one. You are born male. This was to be confirmed. So we'll put that as a question. This is PP. It's like, hello, did you hear anything I've been saying, lady? Like, that's what we've been discussing, and I'm telling you, like, no. If I were wearing a dress and makeup and presenting as feminine, it wouldn't be useful or true to say that I am a man. So for her to say that after all he said, that's definitely pill. And I mean, I don't think it, I mean, I guess it's kind of cop, depending on what you how you define man, which is the whole fucking, thing. And that's another reason why it's pill. It's, bitch, do you not realize this whole conversation is about how we define these terms? So how can you just make a claim assuming the definition of the terms? As though you are participating in our discussion of the definition of the terms. Okay. All right, now we're getting to the fun part, Batav. Remember, we are not trying to see whether someone has made a perfect argument. We just got a clip of an interaction, but it's online. It is having an effect on people. Every clip we scroll past, we are learning from it. We are being affected by it. We are forming opinions. It is affecting our opinions. So evaluation isn't just about perfect arguments. Evaluation is about anything that can have an effect on your relationship to truth. All right, and it's whether and then if you find that you do a whole bunch of these, obviously we'll streamline the process somehow or use some AI or something. But if you do a whole bunch of these and you're like, oh shit, my feed is like continuously has some pretty weak shit, then you can be, all right, I shouldn't watch these. You're not necessarily going to be able to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to no longer have my beliefs based on this. You can't just go root it out. Go, okay, well, here's that video in my brain, everything, every effect that it had. Let me just remove it. You can't do that. Or maybe there's some ways to sort of do something like that, but I haven't. You don't know what it is yet. I certainly haven't figured it out. All right, let's do the batavs. This is the hard part, bro. This is the hard part. But still, this is the farthest we've ever gotten, so that's awesome. We're going to do the batavs. What's the first step from doing a batav? You don't have to have it figured out. You have to literally just type the word if. So we're going to go PBT 01. You know what? These P's should be lowercase, but whatever. We'll put it lowercase here. Put lowercase here as well. Oh, you can also call it taw. Bataw. What's the taw? No, tav is good. So we have a batav here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, hey, hey. I don't want you to. No, 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 no. Oh, I'm confused. All right, we need to put the bet first, bro. You literally won't let me. All right, I see. And then you're going to switch it around again if I don't put something in here. Fuck. I don't want the direction to flip, bro. Let's go English, bro. Or no, let's go English United States so it stops underlining skepticism. Okay, so in other words, if oh wait a minute, no, that's not a batav. It literally has the words if then, but it's not. No, hold on a second. Right. Okay, so it's if PSO 8. Fuck off. Fuck off. Maybe that's not so interesting, huh? It must have been an hour ago. And you may have hated me for having said that. The whole thinking I found something so interesting with the whole if you are or are you born a man? Because I'm wondering whether they even I was going to say the English, but maybe even American. I would not say you are born a man. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, all these questions are only using the present tense because it's asking general questions. Habitual actions. So we use the simple present. Yeah, but his birth was not habitual. He was not born a million times. Another one is if PSO1, then the Kes. So this is actually this batav is kind of the main batav because it's the one that establishes the Kes. Let's be charitable. And you don't always have to include the I. But when you first define it, I think it's good to include the I. I say I think. This is my first time ever conceiving of using an I for an implied. We're trying to be as charitable as possible. So someone else who's evaluating this, first thing they can do is look at where there aren't quotes. Well, first thing they can do is compare the record, the actual video, to things that are quoted. And if you see I'm misquoting things, that's a red flag. Second thing you can do is, once you verify that the quotes are real, the stuff that isn't in quotes was that stuff fair? Was that fair paraphrasing? Another thing you can do is you look at all the I's, assuming that the person was has good did this correctly, and put I's where things were more inferred than stated. And you look, are those good inferences? All right. Anyway, PBT03 equals PS14. That's also so then I can put what these are inferences of. Honestly, I'm not proud of that. All right, I think I can take a break after this. So let's do and we should put in bold whenever we have a cast. And by the way, we saw this early in the video, didn't we? This is one of our sufficiency mallets, isn't it? Nope. It's one of our relevance mallets, isn't it? Appeal to tradition or something like it, right? Because this is what we've been doing, this is what we should be doing. That is a major it in the human psyche because it's how we why we're bosses, right? Because our tribe could learn things over generations and generations, and it didn't get thrown out the window every time a new generation came in with some new ideas. Right? We wanted the new generation to have new ideas, but we didn't want them to throw out all the wisdom that we've gained. So there is a strong. So there are these two its. You have it at the same time. There is an it that avants novelty, change, progress, and another it that involves the conservation of what we have, tradition, and so on. And those its balance out to make sure we don't go too wild and we don't get too stuck in our ways. Sometimes in the community, there'll be some people where the liberal its. I don't want to do that. Where the novelty its are a little bit more represented in this individual, in which case that person is going to sort of in the community represent that it of novelty is important, and maybe they'll be committed to that. And that's good because it's okay if each individual represents an it, not when we're just thinking by ourselves. We don't want to just be one it, right? But then when it's a community brain, then each brain can just represent one it. Anyway, so and then you've got so often in the older generation, you'll have the appeal to tradition, it more heavily represented, and just like how in an individual brain, those two its will battle it out. Well, also in the community, the older generation with conservative its and the younger generation with the novelty its will disagree and will hopefully maintain some balance, which is why it's terrible to see young people, talking about tradition. It's just so ugly to me. It's so ugly to me. You can talk about tradition, but how are you in high school already like, all right, I'm a man, here's what a man does, this is what's right, what's what the world is supposed to be, blah blah blah, I'm going to join my high school young Republicans, blah blah blah, we have to respect tradition. What are you doing? You just skipped 15 years of your psychological life. The fudge are you doing? Ugh. It's a shame that I don't know about other religious texts, but in the Bible there isn't a you don't need faith from kids. Don't ask kids to have faith. Let them discover. Let me present myself to them. Because I don't want to send you guys another prophet. You guys don't listen because you're just maintaining the tradition from the last prophet. That's why they're Jews, right? They didn't want to listen to Jesus. That's why they're Christians, right? They don't want to listen to Muhammad. That's why they're Muslims, right? They don't want to listen to me. So that's going in my disciples. Be sure every one of you should include in your little testimonies that a big deal for me, as big deal as queerness is for the God of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, and in the minds of people today, even though it's such a small piece of the Bible, it's not like a central tenet. But, for me, it is a central tenet. So you know how people pervert that to be like act like it's like some super important thing. All right. Well, for me, it is. It really is a super important thing. Kids must not be taught faith, except for like in the possibilities. right? So if things aren't good, yeah, but I have faith that there are better possibilities. I'm working on this question. I don't have the answer. Yeah, but I have faith that I will discover some of the possibilities. I have faith that it is possible for me to answer this question. Faith in possibilities, that's it. Faith in things after 30. Okay. I'm now allowed to have faith in it theory, for instance. Right? I'm allowed to insist on information because I fucking did my 30 years of faith and possibilities. That's how I found it theory. Does it mean that I'm right? No, of course not. What? Are you listening? No. But, I don't have unlimited time, and faith can be very valuable in things. Not in knowing things, but in contributing knowledge. Not in getting it, but in contributing it. Right? Okay. Faith in specific things. Faith in possibilities is great for getting things. Okay. Anyway. All right. I'm just. All right. My chest is feeling a little funny. Feeling some anxiety. Do another non-alcoholic. All right. You ready to do this, bro? All right. Let's do this. Oh, shit. Didn't I have a. Oh. All right. Let's look at the cassette for vowels. All right. All right. Let's look at the batavs. All right. You ready, bro? All right, bro. Let's do this. So what do we want to do for our first batav for foals? If your assumption is based on my presentation, then FK. So if then presentation should determine gender identity. We can even say if you are determining my gender based on presentation, from presentation. So this would be not an appeal to a tradition, but like an appeal to, I don't know what this is called, but it's the same thing as appeal to example, like appeal to incidents, like because it's happening, it should happen. Yeah, that's an appeal to incidents, we can call that. I don't know what it's actually called. But if happening, then it should happen. All right, what's another batav going on? Now, normally, and we would expect our kes batav, the one where the tav is the kes, to be at the end, I guess. But no, the order doesn't matter. I mean, you can make a visualization of it after, a presentation of it after. Now, actually, and often, right now I'm only using the sex, but I should also be, you'll often see, often, it's the first time it's ever been done in the world, so. But in other arguments without this format, these are actually, what I'm trying to say is that these are actually meant to reference each other, to build on each other. You're supposed to put these sects together into the batavs, and then the batavs are supposed to try to form this hypothetical syllogism to the kes. So let's do that. Let's actually do that. Hold on. So if FSO2, if you assume that I am a man, and FSO4, if you assume that I'm a man and you have not requested information about my parts, then FSO3. There we go. So then we can change this to if FBTO2. And when we say this, what we're really saying is if the tav of this batav right? Here are the two bets, the two antecedents. Here is the tav. So if we say if this whole thing, then what we're saying is if the tav, which is why whether I write FSO3 or refer to this whole betav, it's the same thing. That work? What else we got here? Now we could infer that he was saying that it's a ridiculous gotcha question because it's normally not even like irrelevant, and it's just a way to try to get you to say like an absurd thing, such as can a person with a penis be a woman? And it's like, gosh, if I say yes, you're gonna be like, gotcha. But here's the thing: often people with penises are women because we don't look at the fucking penis, so it's just not relevant. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't do this. If what's FSO2? If you are assuming I am a man, and if you don't know my parts, no, and if you haven't asked about my parts, then you don't think you need parts to determine gender. And then up here, so if you don't think you and these are, yes, they're phrased differently, but I think in a way they're saying the same thing, and that's exactly the way I'm trying to use them. Oh wait, I shouldn't be formulating this too differently from how I formulated it up here. All right, so then I skipped a step. Okay, so then your assumption is based on my presentation. And now these are sufficiently similar. Your assumption is based on my presentation, and you are determining my gender based on my presentation. I think those are sufficiently similar. You guys call yourself reasonable. I don't call myself logical. I don't tell you, I think critically and all that shit. I don't tell you that. Find me a video where I'm like, oh gosh, it's so annoying being in a world where I'm thinking critically and no one else is. I've made many videos complaining about the world. I don't think you could find one where I refer to myself as a critical thinker. I will tell you I have critical recognition, but not that I have done critical reflection. Or I did critical research when I was like 13, did a little science project. All right. All right. And it's, I'm not saying you have to do it. You can go, oh my gosh, Aleris, this video is less than 90 seconds and you've spent absolute minimum, even if we are as generous as we can, or as, conservative as we can in what we count as actually working versus explaining and all that and getting ready. Probably still an hour to evaluate a 90-second clip. We can't be doing that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But what you also can't be doing is pretending that you did do it. Oh yeah, but I wasn't being biased when I watched that video. I scrutinized and I evaluated it. No, you didn't. Unless you've done something like this. I don't believe you. All right. All right, now this one isn't supposed to be here. No, this one isn't supposed to be here. Okay, so what is our third betav for foals? I don't know. Isn't that sufficient, bro? I mean, not for his argument, but for our video. For the exercise. All right. So I would want to raise. I would want to raise this. Where's the appeal to innocence? Oh. Where's the appeal to tradition thing? Where did I write that? I didn't. Okay. Anyway, there you go. And then I guess you just do a glance. Honestly, a 90-second video shouldn't have reasonably a big effect on you. It will, but part of this exercise is maybe sometimes to realize, oh no, this shouldn't have an effect on me. Again, not that you can just, but I don't know, just don't go around quoting this every time you think about it. Try to distract yourself to minimize how much it affects you. Because, you realize that, you got all these people that are loving this. They're like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. But there was nothing to sort of evaluate here. Well, I guess they're not necessarily saying, but they're saying that this guy's full of shit, right? They're having reactions to it. They're saying, yes, I watched this video and I maintain that we are correct, right? And if you ask them, they'd say, yeah, I thought about what he said, but it was just crazy and stupid. Because this is on a right-wing anti-trans page, I think. Definitely the commenters are, and definitely the network is, or the hosts are. And that's another thing. Personal bias. Do a quack for the personal bias. So first, quack mallets. Okay, and you know what? Let's do a quick personal bias. So for instance, yeah, do they have some teeth in the game, right? Like if this guy, if he were trans, we would put that in his personal bias. Their personal bias. So what's that step here? So it's after. Okay, so so personal bias, audience, and employers are anti-trans. Quack the mallets. What was the other thing I said? Quack what? And the reason I'm saying not check, the reason I'm saying quack is because it is really just a quick glance and see whether anything pops out. It's really not scrutiny. These other steps involve scrutiny. But every once in a while, you're just going, hey, by the way, any mallets jump out? Oh, hey, that's an appeal to tradition, You're not like going, oh, but then there should be actual checks, of course. You can go, huh? And then, of course, in the future, we're going to have some way to look up mallets, right? So you put the betav in, and the AI will say, oh, this looks like an example of appeal to tradition, for instance. And we call that the KES database, but didn't they have a nice little play on words for that? I hope it wasn't KESIT. Well, you can say the approved KESIT is the list of all the KESs that have been sort of scientifically, expertly verified. Yeah. And there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these. And if you look at every version, it's infinite. Okay. So what did I put the 10th point or no? What is it again? Quack what? Or was it quack personal bias? And so I put it earlier. Quack mallets. I remember. Okay. And another thing that's good that I think is a good psychological move, rather than putting unknown, put question marks. So really, you see that, and it's like, I don't know what the personal bias is. Like, I haven't figured that out yet. Because I'm worried that if you put the word unknown rather than the punctuation, although literally that can mean the same thing, I'm not sure it'll have the same effect. I think it might be like, oh, I checked for one, and therefore there isn't one, right? Remember Wisiadi, right? What you see is all there is, right? That's a Lacanian concept. That's a principle of the mind of our psychology, that we tend to assume that what we don't see doesn't exist, and what we see is all that exists, right? So if you put unknown, and eat asked, if you don't believe me, fuck off. But Sadi, I hope I really think this is it's at least this is not as absurd as Edas thinks that it is. It's because when we see a question mark, we're not like that's unknowable. Maybe that's what the difference is. When you put unknown, that can more easily read as unknowable than two question marks. Two question mark can feel more like an invitation. So it's more like, I didn't do that part yet, rather than I checked and it's not possible to find out, and so I've put no information available, unknown. Okay. All right. Well, honestly, so what's the conclusion? Again, my point was that we can't always have a conclusion. Sometimes the conclusion is that the cassettes aren't worth remembering, reviewing, remembering, whatever. Now, or that the ESSEC, right? Because here the ESSEC isn't particularly interesting. I mean, the question they had, but their whole conflict here, not particularly interesting. Now, his cassette is kind of interesting, and I think I actually made his point pretty well, but I haven't really checked that. So let's really try to scrutinize now. I'm wondering, maybe if we phrase this differently, it can feel more conclusive. I don't know though. See, this one I feel like is a good inference. What would we call it? What is this inference called? Like, if you, I mean, it's almost reflective, isn't it? Like, it's like, if you don't think that you need to know about parts, then you don't think that you need to know about parts. Okay, here's a counterexample to what he said, because he hasn't addressed, although sure, the initial assumption, but like, for instance, if they needed to, if they wanted him to impregnate her, now they need to check their assumption based on presentation, and they need to find out about parts. Actually, no, his argument's no good. Damn it, we didn't put this betav. But basically, his betav is, if you are comfortable assuming my gender based on presentation, then presentation is sufficient to assume my gender, or to know my gender. You are comfortable, if you are comfortable evaluating, if you are comfortable drawing a conclusion about my gender based on presentation, then presentation is sufficient to draw a conclusion about gender. But they could point out, no. It's a question of stakes. When the stakes are lower, we don't actually need to know. So it's fine if we just go with the presentation. When the stakes are higher, when it's more important to know what it is, I'm too tired now. But if we had seen that betav, we had let ourselves be a little less literal, maybe there would have been it's kind of here. Like, I'm not going to read what we've already read. How do you say this? Like, if gender, and the problem here is there's a problem with the ETA here. Whatever FBTO5 is, there's a problem with the ETA. And that problem has a name. I have no idea what it is. I'm having trouble even figuring out what it is, let alone the name. If presentation is sometimes sufficient for gender guessing, then presentation is always sufficient for gender knowing. Something like this. And they would rate, they aren't reasonable, but, or they aren't smart, but whoever is evaluating this would raise that batab. You're like, yo, actually, you don't even need to raise it. Skip straight to searing it. I would straight up sear that. But then he could respond to them, to their sear of this, and he could say, yeah, but here's the thing. It isn't little consequential. Because we're literally talking about gender. And you're as sure as can be. Yeah, it is fair. It is important that you know what my gender is while we're fucking talking about gender. Especially since you're telling me how important it is. So the fact that you haven't asked me to drop trial, that is a contradiction. You haven't asked to see my license. You haven't nothing. You have not asked for any proof that I am a man. Are happy to carry on with this conversation without second guessing that I'm a man. Good point. So then he would counter sear that. He would counter sear. He would sear this sec here. Oh no, he would sear the eta. The eta. If something is sometimes sufficient for a little consequential guess, then that thing is necessarily sufficient for knowledge. That then right there. No, sorry. No. What would he be searing here? Anyway, he would sear something about this. He'd be like, nah, bro. He would sear this. He would sear this bet. He would sear this bet. He said, hold on, you're saying if something is sometimes sufficient for a little consequential guess, that has nothing to do with right now. That's not lit, bro, because, I mean, look at what we're doing. We're talking about gender. You're talking to me about gender. I'm shocked that gender isn't important. My gender isn't important in that, and your knowledge of it. All right, honestly, I'm happy with that. That's a good day's work.